Oh, we lost Jesus.
Hemos perdido a Jesús.
Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions.
Namaste, bienvenidos, amados, poderosos compañeros.
Thank you for joining us in truth, in devotion to truth.
Gracias por unirse en la verdad, en la devoción a la verdad.
So many traditions that we have. There are many ways to find out your identity.
Hay muchas tradiciones que hablan de cómo encontrar tu identidad.
If you're determined to know it, you will know it because it's yours.
Y si estás determinado a conocerla, la conocerás porque es tuya.
And Buddha, Gautama,
entonces Buda, el Gautama,
is the symbol of the call of the heart to know the truth and only the truth.
Es el llamado, es el símbolo en tu mente, el llamado de tu corazón para ver la verdad y solo la verdad.
And to not settle for what the world, he thought the world was saying. He wanted to know for himself.
Y no, y conocerlo por él mismo, no dejar que alguien más se lo dijera.
And Jesus gives this lesson in A Course in Miracles. I am determined to see.
Y Jesús nos da esta lección en el curso de milagros. Estoy determinado a ver, decidido a ver.
The question is, are you willing to do everything or anything Jesus asked you in order for him to show you the truth of your identity?
Y la pregunta es si estamos totalmente dispuestos a hacer lo que Jesús nos dice para conocer nuestra verdadera identidad.
That's the real question.
Esa es la verdadera pregunta.
Because this single focused desire for God and his kingdom is necessary.
Porque tener un solo deseo, el deseo de Dios y su reino, es totalmente necesario.
Because the world is a desire for something other than the recognition of divinity.
Porque el mundo es el deseo de la experiencia del reconocimiento de algo más que la divinidad.
All awakening, it's not like an event, like I thought the awakening fairy was gonna smack me.
Y no es que el despertar sea como un evento, como que la hada madrina nos toca y nos despertamos.
It's like, how come I don't, can I go sit under the Bodhi tree? Or how come how to come some seem to get struck by the light and see the truth and have this awakening experience.
Y no es como ir y sentarnos en el árbol del Buda y decir ya nos despertamos, es ver que no es como una cuestión de que vienen y nos tocan y ya lo obtenemos.
And I remember wondering, well, when is that going to happen to me?
Y yo me acuerdo divagar y pensar en ¿cuándo me va a pasar esto a mí?
Never.
Nunca.
It can never happen to you.
Nunca te puede pasar a ti.
It's not something that happens to a you.
No es algo que te pasa a un ti, a un tú.
It's not enlightenment.
No es iluminación.
It's cease to denyment.
Es dejar de negar la luz.
It's ceasing to deny the infinite light of being that's already here.
Es dejar de negar que la luz está aquí.
So just as a reminder, I don't know if we put it up there, but I think we did actually, the crazy dream bubble diagram video. It's a little 7-minute video that describes how desires are the denial of inner light.
Entonces, no sé si hemos puesto, creo que sí, hemos puesto la imagen de la burbuja loca, donde la burbuja loca es la negación de la divinidad.
And it appears in other places. It's not just Jesus talking about beliefs and desires. The Buddha talked about it.
Y no solo es que Jesús habla de los deseos, porque el Buda también hablaba de ellos.
Nirvana is desirelessness.
El nirvana es la ausencia de deseos.
The world is a desire for an experience other than holiness.
Y el mundo es el deseo de una experiencia de la no santidad.
What is spectacular about A Course in Miracles
Y lo espectacular del curso de milagros
is it offers a specific means to uncover with Jesus
y nos da un medio específico con Jesús
the blocks to the awareness of love,
para quitar los bloqueos que le hemos puesto al amor.
the block being the desire for an experience other than heaven.
El deseo de una experiencia distinta a lo que es el cielo.
So this is the value of referring back to the core, the voice for God is completely undervalued. I can see I totally undervalued that.
Y me puedo dar cuenta cómo ha sido subestimada el valor que tiene referirnos siempre, ir siempre a la voz a la voz que habla por Dios.
And, you know, it's not many, you don't have a lot of spiritual traditions of Christian spiritual tradition, you know, ask the Holy Spirit and follow the Holy Spirit. That's there.
Y no hay muchas tradiciones que digan, tradiciones cristianas que digan, pregúntale al Espíritu Santo, háblale al Espíritu Santo.
But this gift that Jesus offers of constantly referring back to the voice, that wholeness, that
Pero
voice for wholeness.
Este regalo que nos da el curso de referirnos, ir siempre a la voz de la plenitud, de la completitud.
Oh, the value of it can hardly be spoken about.
El valor que tiene esto, ni siquiera lo podemos hablar.
Because every time it's followed, that is no to the ego.
Porque cada vez que seguimos es decirle no al ego.
It is a definitive no to the idea of limitation in the mind.
Es decirle no a la idea de limitación en la mente.
Now, not numerous spiritual traditions say, okay, come and contemplate and start to notice.
Pero sí hay varias tradiciones que dicen, ven y contempla y date cuenta.
And that's what the Buddha was doing. He was contemplating inside.
Y eso fue lo que hizo el Buda, contemplar interiormente.
And we've talked about this also, lesson 44, lesson 189. There's several contemplative lessons of noticing what's here.
Y ahí está la lección 44, la lección 189, que hablan de la contemplación de que la luz está aquí.
And other spiritual traditions too, contemplate what's here, inner light, contemplate inner light.
Y en otras tradiciones espirituales también lo hablan, dicen, ven y contempla la luz.
The recognition of the holy instant is simple.
El reconocimiento del instante santo es simple.
Okay, so Buddha's under the tree and he sees it. He sees, oh my gosh, there's wholeness. There's just, this world is not true.
Y eso pasó con el Buda, que estaba debajo de su árbol y se dio cuenta, dejó de negar y se dio cuenta de que todo era verdad.
But because of the addiction to consciousness, the play of separation and fear and does not automatically fall away for most beings. It doesn't just fall away.
Pero por esta cantidad de deseos, realmente estas experiencias no nos permiten que se vaya completamente estos deseos.
Ramana Maharshi, I think it was about 16.
Y Ramana Maharshi, cuando tenía 16.
And an uncle died, and so he just lay down on the floor and said, I wonder what it's like to die.
Y simplemente cuando el tío murió, y él se tiró al piso y dijo, bueno, yo voy a ver qué es morir.
And in that, he saw that nothing ever dies. It's
Y él
profound.
en ese instante se dio cuenta que nada muere. Eso es profundo.
And so with that, he immediately saw the world wasn't real.
Y con eso él inmediatamente se dio cuenta que el mundo no era real.
It's either like his brother or his uncle had given him, I think his uncle had given, actually, I think this is how it worked. His uncle had given him some money for his brother's schooling.
Y parece que el tío le había dado algo de dinero para en la escuela de su hermano.
And Ramana takes that money and he takes a train out of there,
Y
leaves his home.
entonces, y Ramana cogió ese dinero y se fue fuera de su casa.
Because he became dedicated to seeing the truth. Okay?
Porque él se dedicó a ver la verdad.
He became dedicated in his mind. I am determined to see and follow that reality.
Y él tenía en su mente, estoy determinado a ver y quería seguir esa realidad.
So I'm actually asking Jesus, was it guidance for him to sit in those temples? If you heard any of those stories of him sitting down in the temples and you go see those places, they're like little dungeons down there.
Le estoy preguntando a Jesús si estaba en guía que él hubiese ido a estos templos y se hubiese sentado ahí.
But he was, so I hear yes. He was
Y
just
escuchó sí.
completely, he took the remnants of his money and threw it in the river, and he threw all his clothes in the river. He just threw everything. I think they finally talked him into wearing a little loincloth eventually.
Y parece que él lanzó todo lo que le quedaba, el dinero, la ropa, al río.
But he focused on his mind. He turned his mind inward and started focusing on inner light.
Y él simplemente llevó su mente al interior y comenzó a enfocarse en la luz interior.
So it is valuable. It's just that most will not have the determination for something like 15 or 15 years, however long it took him just purely focusing on inner light.
Se requiere mucha determinación porque como de 15 o 16 años que se haya focalizado en la luz interior.
You know, you can have that awakening experience, but they'll tell you, all these teachers, Ramana talked about it, Buddha talked about it. You have to clear those subconscious desires, the desires for the experience of something other than heaven.
Y estas experiencias de despertar como las que tuvo Ramana o Buda, pero ellos se dieron cuenta que ellos tenían que liberar los deseos porque eso es el cielo.
You can ask Jesus, do I always in my mind have the power to drop every block to the awareness of love right now? Do I always have that power? Yes or no?
Vamos a preguntarle a Jesús si tenemos el poder de dejar todos esos deseos ahora mismo, ¿sí o no?
And cease to deny who I am. Do I have that power? Yes or
¿Tengo
no?
el poder de dejar de negar lo que soy ahora mismo?
Everyone has that power. It's an equal opportunity.
Todo el mundo tiene,
It's always equal opportunity.
todos tienen la misma oportunidad porque el despertar espiritual es la única oportunidad que es igual para todos.
It's about probability.
Pero entonces la probabilidad.
What is the probability within consciousness that it will be completely dropped automatically? Not high probability.
No hay una alta probabilidad que nosotros dejemos esto de una sola vez.
And as we know, because Jesus could have said, look, and he does kind of say, for some miracles, you know, you can drop this at any time.
Y lo ha dicho en el curso de milagros, podemos dejar el curso en cualquier momento.
Jesus took a tumble. Come back, Jesus. Put him right there. Get him on your shoulder. Make sure you listen to him.
Póngalo en su hombro para que estén seguros de que lo pueden escuchar.
Okay? But Jesus didn't have a one-line Course in Miracles say, drop it now, you're done, you know?
Y no hay una lección en el curso que diga, suéltalo todo y ya está hecho.
He says, you like all of this, and I'm going to show you how much you like it, the addiction to consciousness right here.
Y entonces dice, a ti te gusta todo esto y esta es la adicción a la conciencia aquí mismo.
Okay, so Jesus is practical and he's direct. The Buddha is saying, you got to be desireless to experience the kingdom of heaven within.
Y Jesús es práctico, así como el Buda. Tenemos que no tener ausencia de deseos para estar en el interior, entrar en la luz.
What is so powerful is to talk to Jesus directly, which is what we practice in the light circles, because you can.
Y la cosa práctica es que nosotros vamos a hablar directamente con Jesús y eso es lo que estamos aprendiendo en los círculos de luz porque tú puedes escucharlo.
And to have him start explaining to you why you're addicted to desires below your level of awareness, how to release all this.
Y entonces él mismo te puede entrenar y mostrar por qué quieres tanto los deseos en tu mente de subconsciente y para que los puedas liberar.
You know, someone wrote how, upset, I am not joining your group because I don't have freedom to express whatever I want on the Light Brigade.
Y alguien escribió, no quiero unirme a tu grupo porque no hay la posibilidad de expresarme libremente en la Brigada de la Luz.
Freedom does not come from you saying whatever you want.
La libertad no viene de decir lo que tú quieres decir.
Freedom comes from you saying what he tells you to say. You will see that.
Y la libertad viene de hablar lo que él te diga que digas.
It's really amazing in courts. The focus is on this whole book is not to find the right version of the course.
El enfoque en este curso no se trata de buscar la mejor versión del curso.
But to use whatever version you're guided to get that conversation going so that he can explain to you line by line what each of that means and how you're going to release that from your holy mind.
Pero tener la guía de él, de Jesús, para que te guíe cuál versión debes estudiar y para que puedas liberar a tu mente, tu santa mente.
You might have some shares today of those that are devoting their time to learning to speak directly to Jesus.
Quizá hayan algunas participaciones de algunas personas que están trabajando para escuchar directamente a Jesús.
And the clarity and the power coming through in their words.
Y el poder y la claridad que viene de sus palabras.
This is what the Light Brigade is for mighties to share. Yes, here's what I'm teaching. Here's where Jesus is showing me that I'm wrong.
Y justamente para eso es que la Brigada de la Luz, para que compartan lo que han escuchado de Jesús.
Here's how Jesus is teaching me to be the happy learner.
Aquí es como Jesús me está enseñando a ser el aprendiz feliz.
Here's how he's teaching me to release the hidden subconscious desires to give myself hell.
Y aquí es donde Jesús me está mostrando estos deseos subconscientes donde me gusta el infierno.
So you won't need to be concerned on what version, because whatever version Jesus first of all, you'll be listening to him and he'll tell you which version to look at.
No te tienes que preocupar por qué versión, simplemente tienes que preguntarle a él y él te va a decir exactamente cuál versión mirar.
And you only crack this book open and look at it if he tells you you need to.
Y únicamente abre este libro si él te dice que necesitas abrirlo.
I will tell you, you absolutely cannot. Oh, this is gonna I don't care. I'm gonna say what he says because it's for me.
Voy a decir lo que él me dice porque esto es para mí.
You cannot learn the course by reading through it and discussing it. You will not learn it.
No lo vas a aprender leyendo el curso y discutiéndolo. No lo vas a aprender.
You will learn it by learning to hear his voice and following him so you can see that every line in this book is true.
La forma de aprenderlo es de lograrlo es escuchar a Jesús y que Él te muestre que este curso es completamente cierto.
We were talking today, it's just happiness thinking about this, just like,
Esto es felicidad y eso hemos hablado hoy.
oh my God, it's just so much happiness, where Jesus said, you will either take all of this course, if you cannot exclude any part of it. Every bit of this has to be taken, and or you reject it, but you reject yourself.
Jesús dice, este libro tiene que ser aceptado 100%, cada parte, o lo está rechazando.
Okay. Okay. So that level of joy, of that recognition that the grokking, the detonation inside your whatever, however it works, where it leads you to release desires, all the desires, and you see by your direct experience that every line is true, is just like pure joy.
Y dejar que esto detone, que lo asimile completamente, es completo gozo. Dejar que Él te libere de todos estos deseos subconscientes.
So many spiritual traditions have recognized that desires, including Ramana, he talked about desires. They recognize that the wanting of something, that it's a wanting, that wanting goes horizontal into the world to try to get that need met.
Entonces, Ramán hablaba también de los deseos, como esta necesidad de obtener algo es como un imán que te atrae.
It just, the consciousness looks in form, it does a form hunt. We used to talk about in some of the lessons, it was like a shark, dana, dana. It's looking, it's seeking in form.
Entonces es buscar en la forma, y lo hemos mostrado como el tiburón, tana, tana. Ese
Go Maria.
Va en búsqueda de eso que quiere.
And that shark is hunting for a problem. It loves problems.
Y este tiburón es un cazador de problemas, ama los problemas.
So we have many different practices that seem, in different spiritual practices that seem to try to get at, including Buddhism, to try to get at these desires and the release of desires.
Incluso el budismo habla de esto, de ir y liberar estos deseos.
And again, if you look at that little 7-minute dream bubble diagram, and if we haven't put it in the discussion for the talk, we'll make sure it gets in there. But anyway, you'll see exactly how desires work to hide from the light, to not see infinite light of being.
Y nuevamente hablamos de la burbuja del sueño, del diagrama, la burbuja del sueño, que debe estar adicionado como un link en la invitación. Y cómo esto nos lleva a... Okay, go ahead.
So now we have the master coming in and say, and let me tell you what's happening in your subconscious mind, right there.
Y bueno, tenemos ahora el maestro que nos muestra qué está pasando en nuestra mente subconsciente.
But he's also saying, look, you can talk to me directly, and I will then explain everything you need to know.
Y también dice, yo te explicaré cada cosa que necesitas saber.
The number of excuses not to talk to the voice for God, or just, well, it's most of this book.
La cantidad de razones por las cuales no queremos hablar esta voz, mira, este es el resultado de este libro.
But do not underestimate your power to hear that voice right now.
Pero no subestimes el poder que tienes de escuchar esta voz ahora mismo.
And you'll see it in the light brigade. If beings who said, oh, I can't hear him. And like the next day after a light circle, or all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, he's talking to me, and he's been talking to me all along.
Y la cantidad de seres que vienen a los círculos de luz y dicen, no, no puedo escucharlo. Y al día siguiente o en el momento siguiente están dándose cuenta que lo están hablando y que esta voz les ha estado hablando durante todo el tiempo.
So the light circles, many of you are on them, and you know there's one focus in those light circles.
Y los que vienen a los círculos se dan cuenta que hay un solo enfoque de estos círculos.
And that is to learn to hear Jesus's voice so you can be coached as quickly as possible. Look at the through this.
Y el foco es escuchar su voz y ser entrenado directamente por esta voz. Y mire, este libro.
But see, here's the play with it. The play in consciousness,
Y ese es el juego de la conciencia.
okay, is yes, if you sit down and you can ask Jesus questions, and as your mind clears more and more from releasing desires, the desires are to block the voice.
Y te puedes sentar y escuchar la voz de Jesús y comenzar a hacerle estas preguntas, porque cuando comienzas a limpiar estos deseos, vas escuchando más claramente esta voz.
But the more you practice, and then you clear the desires not to hear the voice, the clearer the voice becomes.
Y cuando clarificas estos deseos de no escuchar la voz se hace más clara.
You know, so, but you can see that very quickly you will be able to, if you choose to, you will be able to have a direct dialogue with him.
Y si estás dispuesto, vas a poder tener un diálogo directo con él.
The challenge is that there are this many reasons the ego has to be selective about what you're willing to hear him say.
Y aquí están todas las negaciones de cómo el ego quiere ser selectivo en escuchar la su guía.
Because here's what's hilarious about this too. I'm talking to him, asking him about it right now, you know, because I read through this and there's so many things like, you know, there's a lot here, as we know, anyone who's managed to meander through this book.
Y le estoy preguntando a él porque hay muchas cosas que los que hemos estudiado el curso, hay muchas cosas en el libro que...
Okay. But it's just to, if we can't look at this book and go, there's no way I'm doing this without this one.
Y si ves todo este libro, te das cuenta que no puedes hacerlo sin este Jesús.
Without getting, so you can take notes with what he says.
Y tú puedes escribir lo que él te dice.
And you can get some like stunning clarity, really.
Y puedes tener una claridad astronómica.
The challenge is, okay, so you can sit down and write notes, but when the ego is threatened, like when he asks you to do something, you'll see how quickly the doors and the windows are shuttered up. Not to hear his voice.
Y puedes escucharlo y escribirlo, pero cuando viene una guía para que hagas algo, entonces el ego se va a sentir amenazado y va a querer poner puertas y ventanas y cerrar todo.
So yes, you can hear, because people go, well, you said I could hear him. Yes, you can. We see it over and over again. Over and over.
Y sí, tú lo puedes escuchar y lo podemos decir una y otra vez, lo puedes escuchar.
But what happens when something comes in to threaten that the ego preserves as all these things, it perceives as a threat.
Porque, pero entonces cuando el ego ve todo esto como una amenaza, entonces se tapa los oídos.
We become the hear no God, speak no God, see no God, you know, monkey.
Entonces nos tapamos los oídos para no escuchar a Dios, no hablar a Dios y no ver a Dios. Es el mono.
So, you know, I remember just finishing the course. Everybody knows it took me like 4 years. So I kept
recuerdo cuando terminé el libro porque me costó como 4 años hacerlo.
Okay. But the good news is I was getting some of the lessons out of it, which is helpful. I was getting some of the lesson.
Y la cosa particular era que yo ya estaba, digamos, logrando algunas lecciones, dándoles la comprensión.
And really, by the time that was done, well, he had been coaching me before the course. I've said that before. He was coaching me before.
Y yo puedo decir que él me estaba entrenando antes del curso.
But by the time I was done, I could see I was ready to really start diving in a big way, although I had no idea what that meant, but, you know, to really start learning to follow the spirit.
Y cuando terminé de estudiar el curso, sabía que estaba lista para lo que fuera que significara eso, para ir más profundo.
And as soon as you start doing that, you'll have like a mixture of some really beautiful time and space rearrangements, and you'll feel like the fire of hell got lit.
Y en ese momento hay unas experiencias muy hermosas, pero también sentía que el fuego del infierno me iba a alcanzar.
But here is the abject power of A Course of Miracles.
Pero aquí está lo inobjetable del poder del curso de milagros.
What can I say? He's totally won me over to the Jesus side. I'm full in. I'm 100% in.
Y puedo decir que yo estoy 100% con Jesús.
Okay. You, me, however it played in consciousness, completely underestimate the divine power that we are. That's how we play the game.
Y así es como jugamos el juego, de no darnos cuenta del poder que tenemos.
And part of that is denying that we chose this experience.
Y una de las formas es negando que hemos escogido estas experiencias.
This is the happy news. It's so happy.
Y ya está la feliz noticia, es muy feliz.
When the ego fights, which it likes to do, because we like the experience of fighting.
Y cuando el ego pelea, porque él desea la experiencia y nos gusta pelear,
it does not want to see that all experience is chosen.
No queremos ver que cada experiencia ha sido elegida.
See, when you take that all the way down with Jesus, to start
Cuando vas
seeing,
todo el camino con Jesús a comenzar a mirar,
this is the power of those light circles. Every day you're starting to see, oh, I chose that, and oh, I did choose that, and I chose that bit of hell, and that bit.
Y ese es el poder de los círculos de luz, cuando comienzas a ir y darte cuenta, yo escogí eso y escogí eso.
But you can ask them, is the best use of time for spiritual awakening going to be talking to you directly, Jesus? Yes or no?
Yeah. Y pueden preguntarle, ¿es la mejor manera de ir a hablar directamente contigo para que te muestre? ¿Sí o no?
He says, I will guide you. I will tell you every place to go, who to talk to, what to say.
Y él dice, yo te guiaré, te diré a dónde ir, qué decir, qué hacer.
Some people get really mad that I talk about Jesus and not the Holy Spirit, but he says it here, I will tell you.
Y hay gente que se molesta porque yo hablo de Jesús y no del Espíritu Santo, pero él dice en el curso, yo te diré.
How is he going to tell you if you're not talking to him?
¿Y cómo él te va a decir él si no estás hablando con él?
So now we can see in all these spiritual traditions, desires, it's desires, it's desires, it's desires, it's desires that are doing, it's desires.
Son deseos, el juego de la conciencia son deseos, son deseos, son deseos.
Every time you see in this book where it says, you believe, he's pointing to a desire, a desired experience.
Y cada vez que en el curso dice, tú crees, está apuntando a los deseos.
And as you know, he had put me on assignment to pull out 80 of them so he could tell me and show me how each one of those was a desire, how I was miscreating hell for myself.
Y él me ha mostrado a mí cómo yo he creado el infierno para mí misma.
So many of you know this book, but it's handy. Let me tell you, it was so handy. Before I didn't know it was going to be a book. I was just following the assignment. You believe God is not, yeah.
Y yo tengo,
I get
yo no sabía
excited
que
about it.
yo no sabía que esto iba a ser un libro. Simplemente yo estaba escribiendo lo que él me decía.
I think he's got me in happy learner mode. I really, I guess.
Y ahora creo que eso me
Okay.
llevó a ser un aprendiz feliz. Miren,
Listen to these. Come on, they're all in A Course in Miracles. Somehow I just missed it. You know, I just
eh,
missed it.
y yo, de alguna manera, todos los estudiantes del curso, y yo no lo habíamos visto, no lo habíamos percatado de esto.
But it's just, oh, when you see it and then you know you don't have to choose that anymore. That's a rocket ship. Come
Y
on,
cuando te das cuenta que tú lo has elegido, ese es un cohete.
strap on our seatbelts. Let's go to heaven. Come on.
Así que vamos directo al cielo.
You believe you're without the kingdom of heaven.
¿Tú crees que estás fuera del reino de los cielos?
Course in Miracles.
O de
You
un curso de
believe
milagros.
you believe you have no access to the kingdom of heaven.
¿Tú crees que no tienes acceso al reino de los cielos?
You believe the kingdom of heaven is denied you.
¿Crees que el reino de los cielos te está negando a ti?
You believe you are barred from the kingdom of heaven.
¿Tú crees que has sido sacado del reino de los cielos?
Right there, he is
Ahí
telling
mismo,
you where you need a miracle.
ahí mismo Él te está diciendo dónde tú necesitas un milagro.
But you cannot get a miracle just from reading it and discussing this.
Pero tú no vas a obtener el milagro simplemente leyéndolo y discutiéndolo.
You get the miracle when you see that this is, I desire an experience of being without the kingdom of heaven. I am choosing that experience.
Tienes el milagro cuando miras y te das cuenta que tú estás eligiendo estar fuera del reino de los cielos.
And then have him coach you and show you, look how much you really like that. We call it the golem. You like it.
Y también que Él te muestre cuánto te gusta. Nosotros le llamamos el Gollum.
This is the best psychotherapy program that ever.
Y este es el mejor programa de psicoterapia en la vida.
Because the healing occurs when he's telling you, look, this is what you're about. You are valuing experiencing these desires. You value those.
Porque Él te muestra cuánto valoras el deseo de estas experiencias.
You know, there's 80, as many of you know, in the back of the book. And
Hay
it's a
80
watershed.
En la parte final del curso.
But you
del
can
libro.
ask him, and he'll tell you everything. Jesus, how many advanced teachers of God have actually purified their mind of these desires with you?
Y le puedes preguntar a Jesús, ¿cuántos maestros de Dios han purificado su mente de estos deseos contigo?
And more important than that, am I going to transcend into the nirvana as long as these still exist in my mind, in my subconscious mind?
Y la pregunta más importante es, ¿voy a trascender y llegar al nirvana si sigo con todos estos deseos en mi mente subconsciente?
And he'll tell you yes or no, you
Y Él
know?
te dirá si sí o no.
Well, let's just ask Jesus,
Y le
without
podemos
figuring
preguntar,
out every one of these from A Course in Miracles, can I experience the kingdom of heaven within, yes or no?
y vamos a preguntarle si no liberamos estos deseos que están aquí en el curso de milagros, ¿vamos a lograr el reino de los cielos? ¿Sí o no?
So when you start realizing there's at least 80, and I haven't counted it, there are more than 80 here. Plus he gave me some that, anyway, but this, all the point of this is develop that relationship with him so he can help you see where you value these desires, value the experience of the kingdom of heaven being denied to you.
Y entonces puedes permitir que Él te muestre cómo deseas esto y cómo tú deseas la experiencia de negarte el reino de los cielos.
Okay, so let's use the word nirvana instead of kingdom of heaven.
Y podemos usar la palabra nirvana en lugar de el reino de los cielos.
and say, Jesus, do I relish an experience of denying myself nirvana? Yes or no?
Jesús, ¿tengo el deseo de negarme a mí mismo el nirvana, sí o no?
What do you get? What do you hear? Jesus, do I relish an experience of denying myself experience of nirvana?
Jesús,
Yes or no?
¿tengo el deseo de la experiencia de negarme a mí mismo el reino de los cielos, sí o no?
See,
El nirvana,
or the kingdom of heaven, all we're
or-
doing on this inquiry is going to the voice for God so that we can be self-honest.
y eso lo que hacemos es ir a la voz de Dios y ser honestos con nosotros mismos.
So we can see if any of this content is hidden below our level of awareness.
Y ver si este contenido que está aquí está por debajo de nuestro nivel de conciencia.
But if we're walking around all day with all this subconscious content,
Porque si estamos andando todo el día con todos estos contenidos subconscientes,
you believe that having is the opposite of giving.
¿tú crees que dar es lo opuesto a recibir?
You desire an experience of having in opposition to giving. You desire that experience.
Deseas la experiencia de que dar es diferente al que recibir.
Again, you believe the kingdom of heaven is denied you.
¿Crees que el reino de los cielos se te ha sido negado?
If we're going to transcend, wouldn't it be a really great idea to find out if we have any of these desires? Because if one of those is in your subconscious mind, you're going to experience the world feeling like God's denying you the kingdom of heaven.
Y es útil que miremos estos deseos, cada uno de ellos, y los tenemos en nuestra mente subconsciente, porque cada uno de estos deseos es creer que nos está negando el reino de los cielos.
You believe choice is real.
¿Crees que la elección es real?
You desire an experience of choice, feeling like choice is real, but choice is duality, choice is death.
Y deseas la experiencia de creer que la elección es real, pero la elección es la muerte.
So when you look at that the diagram, which we can send you a copy of it too, I can put that out there so you can get your own copy and take a look at it.
Y cuando miras la burbuja, el diagrama de la burbuja, y les puedo enviar una copia a ustedes.
That everything's light, and then the tiny mad idea, which is desire, to dive in away from the light.
Y entonces está la luz, donde todos somos la luz, y viene el deseo y que nos lanza a la burbuja del sueño.
And then the deeper in the bubble is thoughts, feelings, emotions, see, beliefs, a thought that, okay, go ahead.
Y profundo en esta burbuja están los pensamientos, los deseos y las emociones.
See, a belief is just a thought where you put energy that it means something to you. This is true. Here's what's true.
La creencia es algo a lo que tú le pones energía y dices, mira, esto es verdad.
But it's really profound when you know, to have that dialogue with him where he's coaching you and saying, look right here, look right here.
Y es muy útil tener esta guía directamente de él, porque él te va a decir, mira aquí, mira aquí.
There are advanced teachers of God that are terrified to talk to Jesus.
Y hay maestros avanzados del curso que están aterrorizados de hablar con Jesús.
Or they're called advanced teachers, but you actually can't be an advanced teacher of God unless you're talking to him all day.
Y ellos se dicen llamarse avanzados, pero realmente no puedes ser avanzado si no estás hablando con Jesús.
So you can ask him right now, Jesus, are you talking to me all day long? Yes or no?
Jesús, ¿tú me estás hablando durante todo el día? ¿Sí o no?
Okay, so now you get to ask him, Jesus, am I willing to talk to you directly all day long? Yes or no?
Y entonces la pregunta es, ¿estoy dispuesto a hablarte todo el día, Jesús, sí o no?
That's where the proof is, but just be honest about it so then he can help you remove all the blocks to wanting to talk to him all day long.
Y hay que ser honesto con él simplemente porque él te ayuda a liberar todos estos bloqueos para que puedas escucharlo todo el día.
Jesus is talking to you all day long. Is that essential for the atonement? Yes or no?
¿Hablar contigo, Jesús, es esencial para la expiación, sí o no? Pregúntale.
Jesus is talk because yes,
Y escucho sí.
you have to talk to the voice of God all day so that it
Tú
weans
tienes que
you
hablar
off
con
of
la
the
voz,
ego.
tú tienes que hablar con la voz que habla por Dios durante todo el día, porque Él te saca del ego.
The power of that voice is going to tell you every place you're indulging into a desire for hell.
Porque Él te va a mostrar dónde estás siendo indulgente por estos deseos del infierno.
And at first, it's like, I thought, and people have heard me say this, talk about this, how, man, I've been really forgiven and forgiven, man. I'm a course student, I don't know.
Yo he dicho que yo decía, mira, no, yo soy una gran estudiante, yo he estado perdonando y perdonando.
So 2010 to 2019, so about, 8 years or so of, man, I'm just forgiven.
Como 8 años hasta el 2019, donde decía, no, mira, yo estaba perdonando.
And as I've said, Jesus is going, not so fast, grasshopper. Well, here's 80.
Y entonces Jesús me dice, no tan rápido, pequeños saltamontes.
But,
Mira,
but
pero
without him, I wouldn't have seen all this. I mean, he had to put it like right here. Look at this one and that one, and I could feel it. I knew he's right about that one.
Y entonces, hasta que él me mostró cada uno de ellos, porque no los veía, y me mostró, míralos ahí.
Because let's see if I can ask him if he wants me to talk about it. It's helpful. Okay. To talk about.
Le está preguntando si es útil hablar de esto, y escuché que sí.
Okay. There's a reason why you only speak what he tells you to say.
Hay una razón por la cual solo hablas lo que él te dice.
Voice of wholeness.
Porque es la voz de la plenitud.
So, the argument comes out. There's a bunch of arguments about desires.
Hay muchos molestias, argumentos acerca de los deseos.
As the way I just speak for me, the level of relief.
Y yo puedo hablar solo por mí, y el nivel de liberación con esto.
It's a two-part thing, okay? It's not only looking with him, but you have to do it with following.
Entonces, tiene dos partes. Es mirar con él y seguirlo. Tienes que seguirlo.
You got to have a deep relationship to trust him enough for him to show you, to open your mind, for him to show you everything that's hidden down there, that how you give yourself hell all day.
Y necesitas de él para que él te muestre cómo en el nivel subconsciente te quieres dar el infierno para ti mismo.
So someone asked me, and this is common, even, people studying Buddhism, and they're studying yogis as well, because yogis as well, yoga, okay, yoga is not a body thing. Yoga is a mind thing. They call it mind body, but no, it's clearing out all that subconscious content.
Y también el yoga, que realmente el yoga no es un tema del cuerpo, es un tema de la mente. Es también para mirar el contenido subconsciente.
Yoga stands for union. See, it's a symbol of union.
El yoga es un símbolo de unión.
We call the beings here yogis, which are light bearers, or those committed to union with the Father.
Y porque esto es para las personas que están comprometidos a unirse con el Padre.
So, and many of these spiritual traditions talk about single-pointed focus for God and his kingdom.
Y varias tradiciones no dualistas hablan de enfocarse en un solo punto, en Dios y su reino.
And it's single-pointed desire. And some came, well, how can you desire? But I thought desires are bad.
Y de tener solo un solo deseo, porque algunos dicen, pero pensé que los deseos eran malos.
But it's just, his plan is good, you guys. It's really, really good.
Su plan realmente es muy, muy bueno.
Masterful. It's so masterful.
Es maestro, es maestro.
Because he says I can use everything in consciousness to turn consciousness back on itself.
Porque es traer la conciencia de regreso a ti mismo.
So instead of going out through all these desires into sensory experience, because that's what desires drive all sensory experience.
Y porque eso es lo que pasa con las experiencias, con los deseos que generan estas experiencias sensoriales, que las son los que generan la experiencia.
He says, point the wanting. So instead of wanting and seeking and do not find out in the world.
Y entonces, en lugar de estar apuntando y buscando en el mundo,
he turns it back in to want to know what you are.
Entonces es girarse y ir a mirar quién eres tú.
And at some point, if you want if you really want to live this, if you really want to know what this is,
y si en verdad quieres saber qué es esto,
and have this text detonate in you,
y dejar que este texto detone en ti,
then it really requires 100%.
Requiere 100% a Jesús.
This one, follow, I'll show you.
Seguirlo porque él te mostrará.
And so it takes single-pointed desire to know the kingdom of heaven within.
Y es tener solo un deseo por el reino de Dios, por el reino de Dios.
But then, as all the desires disappear, you see that even the desire for the kingdom just falls away. It's just helpful.
Y es útil tener este deseo, pero llega un momento donde incluso ese deseo de Dios y su reino desaparece.
You can ask Jesus, and then that's forgiven. It just falls away because there's nothing to desire. You see that desirelessness is Nirvana. You don't desire anything. You are everything.
Y te das cuenta que el vivir sin deseos lo es todo, porque ya lo eres todo. Ahí te das cuenta que eres todo.
You know, it just, you know, some go, well, how can you have, how can miracles, someone asked me, how can miracles occur at the level of desire?
Y alguien me preguntaba, ¿cómo pueden ocurrir los milagros a nivel del deseo?
When Jesus is saying you need to have a single-pointed desire for God and his kingdom.
Sí, Jesús dice que debe haber un enfoque en el deseo de Dios y su reino.
Because he's using desire with consciousness knows how to do well, which is to want something.
Y porque él usa los deseos, porque él sabe que la conciencia va por ellos.
To want the experience God above all else.
Para tener la experiencia de Dios por encima de todo esto.
So that you can have miracles in every wanting of something that's not of God.
Y así puedes obtener milagros de todo lo que, del deseo de lo que no es Dios.
Until, you know, you have that forgiveness of the desire for God, because you'll see you don't have to desire God because God is here. It's you.
Y entonces hasta que llegas al punto donde el deseo por Dios, te das cuenta que eres tú, que tú eres.
It would seem so simple. If it's here, people would say that, you know, it was kind of, you know, you can get in the play. I was getting frustrated. They keep saying God is here. Well, where is that? Because I'm not getting that.
Y yo me comenzaba a sentir un poco frustrada y decía, pero ¿dónde está? ¿Por qué no lo puedo ver si está aquí?
It is the fruit of the recognition that comes from a purified mind. Then you just see, oh, it's not anywhere else, it's here.
Es el fruto del reconocimiento de darte cuenta de que no está en ninguna, que está aquí.
So what I started talking about too, so when you truly see, okay, I chose this, when you really get that, when you grok that and it detonates on the inside.
Y cuando te das cuenta que en verdad tú lo has escogido, donde detona eso, te das absolutamente cuenta de que lo has escogido.
And you admit, I can choose differently.
y tú admites que puedes elegir de manera diferente,
And this is the glory of A Course in Miracles, because when
es,
it penetrates, you're happy.
esa es la gloria del curso de milagros, porque cuando penetras esto es felicidad.
Because if you're caught in any kind of cranky stage, which a lot of students get, they're smiling, but they're really cranky underneath because they have,
Pero algunos estudiantes que se sienten como
Yeah.
atorados,
they get
aunque ríen, realmente se sienten atorados.
they get stuck getting in a thing about, you got to go through the dark night of the soul, and they're going to talk about all that stuff. Look,
Y comienzan a hablar, mira, tú tienes que ir a través de la noche oscura del alma, y hablan de todas estas cosas.
when you penetrate all the way, you're going to see you chose it. If it showed up and you had that experience, you chose it.
Pero cuando tú penetras más profundamente, te das cuenta que tú has escogido eso, que la has escogido.
But you laugh because you see you chose it and it's gone. It's like Jesus said, you're white, you're clean. You're not trying to find somebody to meet you at the water fountain to talk about how bad your spiritual awakening experience was.
Y entonces ya no vas a querer encontrarte con alguien en la estación de agua o de café para hablar de lo difícil que ha sido la experiencia de despertar.
And telling them how bad their spiritual awakening is going to be. That's
Y de decirte cuán difícil va a ser tu experiencia de despertar.
You're going, look, you have the power. You see, you have the power to choose again. Get your miracle, get miracle minded.
Y te das cuenta del poder que tienes de escoger y de tener una mentalidad milagrosa.
This is what amazed me about this whole idea, of the dark night of the soul. Do you think Jesus is going to lead you through? You think he has that plan for you? Do you think God has that plan for you? What?
Es una cosa que me sorprende. ¿Tú crees que Jesús te va a llevar por una noche oscura del alma? ¿Crees que Él te va a liderar por ahí, por ese camino?
And that a miracle is not more powerful than anything that can display in consciousness? Is it, he's an immediate, this is not more powerful than anything you experience in consciousness?
¿No crees que esto es más poderoso que todo lo que experimentas en la conciencia, que el milagro es más poderoso que todo esto?
But you've got to join with mighties, because that's another powerful part of A Course in Miracles.
Y te vas a tener que unir con compañeros poderosos, porque esa es otra parte poderosa del curso de milagros.
Because it cannot be overestimated.
Y no puede ser subestimado cuánto.
How much, as we complain about how bad the world is, how much it's liked and it's below the level of awareness. How much hell is really pleasure down there.
Y podemos quejarnos de todo el mundo, pero si nos damos cuenta en el nivel subconsciente, hay mucho placer en estas experiencias.
But sometimes beings are going, oh my gosh, I'm starting to see how many desires I really need to go through with Jesus.
Y algunos seres dicen, uy, mira todos estos deseos con los que tengo que ir a mirar con Jesús.
But the point of that is to admit, I need help.
Y el punto de eso es darte cuenta de que tú necesitas ayuda.
Get the lesson. I'm determined to see, and it takes a lot of looking and consistency.
Y estar determinado a ver, porque esto requiere mucho mirar y mucha consistencia.
And to be clear, that it's the most valuable use of time to follow him and to let him coach you through and show you where in the subconscious mind these are delightful.
Y realmente es importante dejar que él te entrene para que te des cuenta que todas estas experiencias son de las deleitamos, nos encantan.
It takes a lot of looking. See, that's what the ego will not be consistent. It's going to dabble. I'll come in here. Let me test this way. I'll test this for a while. And then it just goes off and does its own thing and quit following. It'll follow for a while. And then it's okay. That's enough of that. I got stuff to do in the world.
Pero el ego va a querer tener estos pensamientos de duda y venga, pruebo este camino, pero porque tengo que hacer muchas cosas en el mundo, como estar mirando, testeando.
And many of you heard me talk about, I just looked at desires and show me, Jesus, show me more, Jesus, show me more.
Y yo les he dicho a muchos que yo le decía a Jesús, mira, muéstrame más, muéstrame más.
Where is that supreme happiness?
Y yo le preguntaba, ¿dónde está esa suprema felicidad?
Well, it is buried. You could, it's
Y
buried.
está enterrada.
And it's sidetracked. The ego, by not following every day on every single thing, the ego, it wants to keep all the experiences that are listed in here, and it wants to read about what it should do. It wants to read about the course.
Entonces vas a requerir leer el curso.
But we have to live the course by the commitment to ourselves of following him and being coached by him. Here's what to look at it. This is what this means. You can have that direct experience with him.
Y tener esta experiencia directa con Jesús donde Él te diga, mira, esto es lo que quiere decir esto, y te vaya mostrando cada cosa.
See, when through desires is a wanting. I want something.
Porque el deseo es quiero algo.
Okay, so that immediately makes you have to want something. There's a wanter and a thing to want.
Entonces va a haber una persona que quiere y una cosa que quiere obtener.
You've heard duality. Well, the basis of duality of two is a wanter and a wanted.
Y entonces la base de la dualidad es eso, una persona que quiere un querer y una cosa querida.
It's a desire for something out there that it can try and get.
Es el deseo de una experiencia de que hay algo afuera que puede obtener.
Okay, and like he said, you seek and never find. You're constantly wanting. Seeking is wanting something, and I'm going to try and find happiness over here and find happiness over there, and I'm going to find it.
Y entonces es este gusto por ir a buscar y voy a obtener felicidad aquí y voy a obtener, la voy a encontrar aquí.
And that's why I put the post up on Wonder Woman 1984.
Y por eso puse la publicación de La Mujer Maravilla en 1984.
There are a lot of good spiritual movies, but let me tell you, for one that really shows an example specifically of taking back the desire.
Pero hay muchas películas espirituales, pero una que muestre exactamente cómo uno devuelve digamos, deja de querer un deseo.
If you are everything, what can you want?
Si tú eres dueño de todo, ¿qué vas a querer?
It's impossible to want. We've been given everything. This love. We're it, period. Love, thing, that's it.
Y cuando lo somos todo, ¿qué vamos a querer? Porque nosotros somos amor y punto.
Notice in light, this is why you contemplate light. A lot of spiritual traditions, and Jesus have to contemplate light.
Y entonces tú contemplas la luz. Hay muchas tradiciones que hablan de la contemplación de la luz. Contemplas la luz con Jesús.
But notice in the holy instant, is there a wanting? Does it want something in the holy instant?
Pero contemplas en el instante santo y miras si el instante santo quiere algo.
It's just peaceful. It's not hunting. It's not a hunter. It's not looking for something. You hear.
Es simplemente es paz y no es un cazador de algo, no está cazando por algo.
So Wonder Woman 1984 is so wonderful because Diana, Wonder Woman, had a wish. See, a wish.
Entonces la película Mujer Maravilla 1984, Diana tiene un deseo, quiere algo.
And she thought the cause of her unhappiness was that someone had died, and so she made a wish about that.
Entonces ella cree que la causa de su infelicidad es que alguien murió y ella hace un deseo con relación a eso.
Okay, and then we have another character in the movie he's fabulous. He goes, why not want more? We can have more. That's desire.
Y entonces hay otro personaje que dice, ¿por qué no tener más y tener más? Todo eso es un deseo.
And so she had a grievance to heal, and he had a grievance to heal.
Y entonces él tenía agravios que sanar y ella tenía agravios que sanar.
And they're all they're taking back the wish for more. That's what a desire is, a desire for the experience of more or less than you already are.
Y entonces ella renuncia a este deseo de querer esto, porque es el deseo de querer más.
So I can't really think of many better movies that show the depiction of the change in mind on getting a miracle on a desire for more and just changing the mind that's not valuable anymore.
Y no hay muchas películas donde muestran que el renunciar a este deseo por más.
Yeah, it's spectacular, really. That movie is spectacular because you'll see everybody ends up joining. It's in the end and taking back the wish, no longer wishing for more.
Y esta película es espectacular porque todos se unen en el deseo de no querer desear más.
Those things go hand in hand. When you want more, you have to perceive that you have less. Can you see that's we call it a slider sandwich right there.
Y ahí está el sándwich donde crees que tú quieres más y es porque crees que tienes menos.
You know, they're simultaneous.
Porque son simultáneos.
But it's tricky. You think you're going for more, but you're only doing that because you perceive that you're less.
Porque tú percibes que vas por más, pero realmente es porque estás yendo por menos.
You know, that's pleasure and pain. You know, they're really the same. They're two sides of the same coin.
Es como el placer y el dolor, son los dos lados de la misma moneda.
But you'll start to catch it, how there's pleasure in the desire for pain.
Y ver que hay placer en el deseo del dolor.
But see, you'll be able to talk to Jesus directly.
Pero tú tienes que hablar con Jesús directamente.
And then share what he's teaching you, because when you share it in the light brigade.
Y puedes compartirlo lo que él te dice en la brigada de la luz.
Because when you speak the voice, there's so many objections to speaking that voice. When you speak or type what he's telling you, it helps it detonate within you. It's for you.
Porque cuando hablas esta voz, permites que esta voz detone en ti, porque esto es para ti.
So it's inside of you.
Está dentro de ti.
And we have the power to make that choice.
Y nosotros tenemos el poder de hacer esa elección.
So we're going to open up the floor to all the Jesuses that may have questions.
Entonces vamos a abrir el espacio para que estos Jesuses que tienen preguntas acerca de deseos.
If anyone has any questions about desires or clearing desires, or why desirelessness is nirvana, or how they can hear their voice better.
Acerca de los deseos, cómo vivir sin deseos es el nirvana, o todo relacionado con los deseos.
So just be focused on get your miracle.
Solo enfóquense en obtener su milagro.
It really is about standing into it. See, the ego is going to go, oh, I got to go. I've said that so many times. You know, I got to get out of here. I got to get myself out of here.
Es mantenerse, porque el ego va a decir, no, tengo que salir de aquí, tengo que salir de aquí.
You have to, and then the ego goes, well, you know, you have to see that you carry the beehive of hell everywhere you go.
Pero tienes que darte cuenta que tú tienes el panal de abejas que va donde quiera que tú vayas.
You ask Jesus, Jesus, do I carry it when I'm, every time you say no to guidance, it's to keep the beehive of hell.
Y cada vez que no te sigo, Jesús, es querer mantener este panal de abejas del infierno.
It's to keep all of this.
Es mantener
That's
todo
why
esto.
the ego doesn't want to follow guidance because it wants to keep this as long as it can. All these desires under here, all these beliefs, it wants to keep those.
Porque el ego quiere mantener todos estos deseos, todos mantenerlos.
So you know, we have to be really determined. I am determined to see, I'm going to do whatever it takes. You have to be willing to do whatever he asks you. And ego goes, oh, that sounds horrible. But you're free. There's a freedom in it. It's just freedom. I can't explain that.
Y el ego va a decir, no, eso es horrible, porque te dice, hay que hacer todo lo que la guía te dice, y él va a decir, esto es horrible.
See,
Pero esto es
it's just happiness.
libertad.
Mind locked down on God is my one goal, and there's nothing more important to me than that miracle. And whatever Jesus asks me, it just
Es cerrar tu mente a solo Dios y su reino, y hacer lo que Jesús te diga.
It's just pure infinite love in that, you know. We're not subject to the world.
Eso es puro amor, y no estamos ya más sujetos al mundo.
The ego is going to do everything that it can to try to get you out of guidance.
Porque el ego va a hacer todo lo que sea para sacarte de la guía.
And it loves speaking like Jesus, going, well, Jesus told me. And then it has nothing to do with Jesus. You have to be really dedicated.
Y vas a estar diciendo, sí, Jesús me dijo, pero no tiene nada que ver con lo que realmente Jesús te está guiando. Por eso tienes que ser tan dedicado.
But if you want it, that he's given the means to so many to work directly with him.
Pero si son dedicados, él te está dando los medios para ser directamente dirigidos por él.
But you can ask them, very few Course in Miracles students are willing to really talk to Jesus, and he's the one that wrote the book.
Hay muy pocos estudiantes del curso que quieren hablar con Jesús, y él fue el que escribió este libro.
But not only talk to him, because a lot of students will say, oh, I've been talking to him since, 86.
Y porque hay muchos estudiantes que dicen, no, mira, yo he venido hablando con Jesús desde 1966.
They won't be following. You see, it's one thing to hear the voice, but are you following it 100% and be 100% dedicated to hear that voice clearly and follow it?
Es 100% de estar enfocados en escuchar esa guía y seguirla.
And you just get more and more, it's just relief at first. It's just, I could see that, after a while it was just pure. At first it just felt like, God, am I ever going to get through this pile? And that's what comes up in the mind, It's like, oh my gosh, at first it's like I was kind of like oblivious.
Sí, en un principio estaba
I read the Course and...
como que no entendía nada, porque yo leía y como que no entendía.
Talk about the Course.
Y hablaba del curso.
So the real question, am I going to live the Course, and really follow him?
Pero la pregunta es, ¿en verdad quiero vivir el curso y quiero seguirlo?
But it can never be a part-time.
Y nunca puede ser tiempo parcial.
It isn't. There just isn't a way for this to be part-time. It really is a full-time. If you want to collapse time.
Si quieres el cohete y si quieres colapsar el tiempo, no es un trabajo de medio tiempo.
If you want the compressed time with Jesus, you have to follow him 100%.
Porque si tú quieres colapsar el tiempo con Jesús, tienes que seguirlo 100%.
And have the willingness, go ahead and show me, and you can take whatever he shows you.
Y simplemente tener la voluntad de decirle, Jesús, muéstrame, y ver que puedes ver lo que él te muestre.
And don't underestimate your ability if what you perceive, see, it's, I perceive, I feel resistance, I feel resistance.
Y no subestimar cuando sentimos resistencia, pero persistir.
But you can also say, I feel resistance, but I'm going to look anyway, because you're more powerful.
Pero tú puedes también decir, tengo resistencia, pero voy a mirar de todas maneras porque yo soy poderoso.
Resistance is a feeling, it's a sensory experience, but we don't have to make it real.
La resistencia es una experiencia sensorial, pero no tenemos por qué hacerla real.
Or powerful, more powerful than a miracle.
O más poderosa que un milagro.
You know, it's like you can ask him, Jesus, am I making this feeling of resistance more powerful than me accepting a miracle?
Estoy haciendo, Jesús, este deseo de la resistencia más poderosa que un milagro.
So all of you guys, there's no exceptions here about who can hear Jesus.
No hay ninguna excepción. Todos ustedes pueden escuchar a Jesús.
It is the most beautiful thing to have your voice.
Es la más espectacular experiencia, dejar que su voz
come through, your voice for wholeness. Just, it's so beautiful. We get together here at the center.
Para que esa voz hable a través tuyo, y a eso venimos en el centro.
Because the focus here is then to come and, you know, and ask Jesus questions. You spend the time asking him questions or talking to him, contemplating, and then you're writing down what he's telling you.
Porque lo que hacemos aquí es que hablamos con Jesús, le hacemos preguntas y escribimos las respuestas de lo que Él nos dice.
And the beauty that comes out, and it just, you just learn so much by talking to him. You know, the course really lives. You'll see that it lives within you when you talk to Jesus.
Y ver que cuando comienzas a escucharlo, es ver que el curso vive en ti.
It bloom inside, it blooms.
Florece interiormente.
There's so much fruit in that.
Hay mucho fruto en eso.
So it's a combination of putting aside the time to talk to him and
es una combinación de sacar un espacio para hablar con él.
But you cannot, you know, I was talking to him about you know, control and out of control. Two of the favorite things that the ego loves to experience.
Y hemos estado hablando de control y fuera de control, dos de las cosas que le encanta experimentar al ego.
And if you look for him, with him, he'll show you the desire for control. You know, you can, in a light circle or with your brother, he'll show you control and out of control.
Y si lo ves con tus compañeros en círculos de luz, vemos el control y la pérdida de control.
But you cannot fully clear those without 100% following him because you need Christ control. See?
Pero tú no puedes clarificar esto completamente porque para eso tienes que tener el control del Cristo.
So that's what the ego is going to fight following him because it doesn't want to, you know, see that it's a little power play, this control out of control thing.
Y esto es lo que no quiere ver el ego porque esto es un juego del poder, del control y fuera del control.
So there's some beings that go, oh, I got this. Now I'm going to take this book and I'm going to work through every one of these.
Y algunos seres dicen, mira, ya me di cuenta cómo es esto. Voy a coger este libro y voy a ir uno por uno.
This is exactly why you need Jesus, because he's the only one that's honest enough, first of all, to tell you which one of these to do when and whether you're done with them.
Pero ahí es donde necesitas a Jesús, su honestidad, para que Él te diga cuáles de estos hacer, cuándo hacerlos y cuándo los has terminado.
In what order to do them in.
Y cuál es el orden que tienes que hacerlo.
And what assignments you need from him to clear them from your mind.
Y qué tienes que clarificar de tu mente.
It's a good plan. It's the best plan ever.
Es un buen plan, es el mejor plan de la vida.
Doesn't mean there won't be some screaming and ballyhooing out there, you know, along the way. But
no quiere decir que no vaya a haber gritos ahí todo el camino.
But here's the thing I realized about this whole thing.
Pero miren lo que me he dado cuenta acerca de esto.
I could ultimately scream and ballyhoo as much as I wanted. He's still right.
Pero yo puedo gritar y hacer todo lo que quiera, pero él sigue estando en lo correcto.
And the only thing to do with screaming and ballyhooing is to get your miracle.
Pero no importa lo que grites, lo valioso es ir por tu milagro.
The only thing to do if you think you're coming up on a dark night of the soul is to join with your brother and get a freaking miracle.
Y lo que valioso que es cuando crees que estás pasando por la noche oscura del alma, ir y obtener tu milagro.
And follow. See, that a lot of those dark nights come out of not following because the ego wants you to have a hellacious spiritual awakening experience. Ask Jesus.
De seguirlo, porque el ego quiere una experiencia de despertar horrorífica.
Okay. It wants you dead. Remember, it wants you dead. It wants you to have the most horrendous awakening experience possible.
Y recuerden, él te quiere ver muerto, te quiere ver muerto, él quiere la más horrorífica despertar espiritual.
So the whole point of listening to this voice 100% is to keep out of that traffic.
El punto de seguir esta voz es que estemos fuera de este alboroto, esta situación.
Do you think that if you're talking directly to Jesus, he's going to say, oh, yeah, by the way, well, you know, here's how you're going to have to go through a hellacious spiritual awakening of experience?
¿Crees que hablar con él te va a decir, mira todo lo que tienes que hacer para pasar por esta horrorífica despertar espiritual?
He talks about it in here because he knows how much we relish giving ourselves hell, so he tells
pero él habla de esto aquí en el curso porque simplemente él sabe cómo nos encanta este horror en nuestra mente subconsciente.
That's all. Just quit liking. We got to quit liking giving ourselves hell. That's it, right, Jesus?
Es simplemente dejar, renunciar a darnos a nosotros mismos el infierno.
So, any questions about becoming the Buddha? Or it's not. You don't
¿Alguna pregunta de convertirnos en el Buda?
No. That's what I thought it was. I'm going to sit on a high mountaintop like this.
Yo pensé que esto era ir y sentarse en una montaña alta y hacer esto.
Jesus has a different plan for mind purification.
Pero Jesús tiene un plan diferente para la purificación de la mente.
But it's not, you know, it's again, it's not something that happens to you that you get hit by the fairy, okay?
Nuevamente, no es algo que te pase a ti, que vayas a ser tocado por el hada.
It's a decision to no longer give ourselves hell. Change our
la decisión de no darnos más a nosotros el infierno, de cambiar nuestra mentalidad.
And, you know, again, he says, see it a new way. Am I willing to see this a new way, Jesus?
Y es verlo de otra manera. Jesús, ¿estoy dispuesto a ver esto de otra manera?
See, if pain, but remember, the miracle's instantaneous. When the mind changes.
Recuerden, los milagros son instantáneos cuando la mentalidad cambia.
So it's not, the miracle's not the problem.
El milagro no es el problema.
It's a desire for an experience of not having a miracle.
El problema es el deseo de una experiencia de no tener milagros.
It's buried so deep that you need this one to coach.
Eso está muy enterrado profundamente y por eso necesitas a este para que te entrene.
But this is the ones that want the rocket ship. That's with, we're just
solo para los que quieren el cohete.
You want the fastest way out of the world.
Tú quieres la vía más rápida fuera del mundo.
You can call them whatever you want to call them. It's the voice for whole. You call them bebop. You can call them whatever. It's the voice for wholeness within that's going to tell you every place you desire something other than God.
Y puedes llamarlo como tú quieras, pero es la voz de la plenitud para que nos muestre todos los deseos diferentes a Dios.
So the question, are we willing to see that? Every desire for an experience not to be Buddha. That's basically it.
Entonces la pregunta es, ¿estamos dispuestos a mirar todos los deseos de
And
no
beyond
querer ser el
Buddha.
Buda y de ser más allá del Buda?
To be the Christ, beyond the Christ.
Ver el ser el Cristo, ser más allá del Cristo,
Choiceless awareness.
a la conciencia sin elección,
Beyond desirelessness.
más allá de no tener deseos,
Supremely happy.
a la suprema felicidad.
Okay, any other questions or anything else for the Holy One?
¿Alguna otra pregunta o algo más para del Santo Uno?
Or any shares too? Shares are good.
¿Algún compartir?
Yeah, share what Jesus is teaching you. It's all good. It's for everybody.
Mostrar lo que Jesús nos está enseñando es útil para todos.
And the other thing we're really encouraging, because someone asked a beautiful question about some of the quotes and things that are in the lessons.
Y hay una cosa particular de alguna cita de las lecciones.
You know, and they said, are those printed anywhere, or do we have a book with them?
Entonces nos han preguntado si están impresas todas estas citas de las lecciones o si hay algún libro.
Really, you know, there are a couple of things. One is you can share them in the comments. If you like certain quotes, share them in the comments. You know, everyone can enjoy them.
Y si ustedes quieren pueden compartirlas porque todos los podemos disfrutar.
And then share your experiences too. That's so important. It cannot be overemphasized. This is why we totally emphasize minimum quotes from the Course, because we're going, here's what Jesus is teaching me. So I think David's share what Jesus is teaching him.
Y realmente nos estamos enfocando es más en lo que Jesús nos está enseñando y de compartir esto.
The 922 camera, there's David, and Henyu.
Hi, everyone.
Hola a todos.
Yeah, just share a couple of things.
Solo compartir alguna par de cosas.
The writing that I'm doing through the 90 Days with Jesus program.
El escribir o lo que estoy escribiendo del programa de 90 días con Jesús.
Through the questionnaires of asking Jesus questions and then letting him respond through me to paper.
Y esto de hacerle preguntas a Jesús y dejar que Él a través de mí me diga lo que debo escribir.
It's really profound and it's inspiring.
Es muy profundo e inspirador.
Sometimes I hear the voice clearly, sometimes I don't, but that's okay. I'm just learning.
Y algunas veces lo escucho más claramente y otras veces no lo escucho, pero está bien porque estoy aprendiendo.
And what I'm finding is that my mighties here at the center are sharing some breathtaking messages from Jesus.
Y lo que veo es que aquí mis compañeros del centro están compartiendo cosas que te quitan el aliento.
So I'm learning that it doesn't always have to come directly to me. It's coming through my mighties to me as well.
Y también me he dado cuenta que no solo tiene que venir a través de mí, sino también que viene a través de mis compañeros poderosos para mí.
And I just want to read something that he shared with me that hit me this morning.
Y voy a compartir algo que alguien compartió que me tocó esta mañana.
It's a beautiful nugget from the morning daily lesson that Kay gives every morning.
Y esto fue un regalo de la lección que da Kay en las mañanas.
And what I wrote down, it's all about trust, which has been my biggest hurdle.
Y lo que voy a compartir es acerca de la confianza, que ha sido uno de los temas más difíciles.
So Jesus said this through Kay.
Esto dijo Jesús a través de Kay.
Lay aside all cares and worries and be with me for a time.
Dijo, deja a un lado todas las preocupaciones y siéntate conmigo por un tiempo.
Trust always points back to infinite love.
La confianza siempre apunta al infinito amor.
All the love of the Father is found through trust.
Todo el amor del Padre se encuentra en la confianza.
The entire illusory world was created through not trusting,
Todo el mundo de la ilusión ha sido creado a través de la no confianza.
so the play in consciousness is that nothing is trustable.
Así que el juego de la conciencia es de que nada es confiable,
Nothing is going to care for me,
que nadie va a cuidar de mí,
so I have to figure out how to do it on my own.
así que tengo que hacerlo por mi cuenta.
That pretty much summarizes my life story up till now.
Y eso resume de alguna manera en la historia de mi vida.
In truth, the only thing that is trustable is light.
Pero en verdad lo único que es confiable es la luz.
You've been the light all along, and all is cared for.
Tú has estado en la luz siempre y siempre has sido cuidado.
Infinite love, joy, and happiness are all yours now.
Toda la felicidad son tuyos ahora mismo.
If you just relax in curiosity and openness,
Si simplemente confías, say it again.
if you just relax in curiosity and openness,
Si simplemente te relajas en la curiosidad y en la apertura,
love will come to you.
el amor vendrá a ti.
Infinite love,
El amor infinito.
all that you are,
Todo lo que eres.
because love is all there is.
Porque el amor es todo lo que es.
Miracles are natural to you.
Los milagros son naturales para ti.
Constant expressions of love just pouring through you.
Constantes, say it again.
Constant expressions of love just pouring through you.
Constantes expresiones de amor simplemente pasando en ti, a través de ti.
Spend no time on distress.
No pases tiempo en angustias.
Spend time with my words and see the truth.
Pasa tiempo con mis palabras y ve la verdad,
That there is nothing to do.
que no hay nada que hacer.
Just ask to be shown,
Solo pregunta que se te debe ser mostrado
and love will lead you.
y el amor te guiará.
And I'm just listening to hear if he has anything to say about it.
Estoy escuchando si hay algo que él quiera añadir acerca de esto.
I'm hearing him say, David, it's all true.
Estoy escuchando de David, todo esto es verdad.
There really is nothing to worry about.
No te preocupes.
You've made it all up and you can let it go now.
Tú te has abierto a esto, ahora lo puedes dejar ir.
Join with me and you will be cared for. You are cared for.
Únete a mí y tú eres cuidado.
So, yeah, that was just really powerful today. And yeah,
Eso fue muy poderoso hoy.
just, learning and experiencing new things every day, beautiful things.
Experimentar nuevas cosas cada día, hermosas nuevas cosas.
So thank you to Kay and Joining in Light and all my mighties.
Gracias a Kay, a Joining, el Centro Devocional y a todos mis compañeros.
Thank you, David. The mighties are just,
Gracias, David. Los compañeros.
they're just beyond the beyond. So many blessings.
Muchas bendiciones. Esto va más
It's
allá.
really beautiful. It's the stuff that's coming through David, those guys, it's just so stunning.
Son asombrosas estas cosas. Esto que viene a través de David.
Really stunning coming through.
Cosas maravillosas vienen.
So I think Lena wanted to share something.
Parece que Lina quiere compartir algo.
Sí, hola, buenas noches a todos.
Yes, hi everyone. Yeah.
Sí, siento que Jesús quiere que comparta.
I feel that Jesus wants me to share.
Y bueno, mi experiencia ha sido mirar la mente subconsciente por más o menos aproximadamente 3 años.
And my experience has been looking at my unconscious mind for about 3 years.
Y ha habido muchas sacudidas.
And I have had a lot of sacudidas, ¿cómo dices eso? Alguien que,
Gritos.
oh my God, se me fue la palabra.
What's
Sí,
the word?
muchas quejas del ego.
A lot of noise from the ego.
Okay.
Sin embargo, puedo decir que recientemente
But and now I can say that recently,
es como si mi mente hubiera dado un giro.
it's like my mind has flipped.
Y no dejo de agradecer.
And I cannot stop to say to thanks this.
Simplemente escuchar a Jesús todo el tiempo ha sido para mí una experiencia maravillosa.
So hear Jesus all the time. It has been a wonderful experience.
Como veo que ahora en mis tareas de perdón,
And I can see now in my forgiveness homeworks or forgiveness task.
Le pregunto a Jesús, ¿tú cómo ves esto?
I asked Jesus, how do you see this?
Y siempre me responde.
And always he answered me.
Y ese siento que es el milagro.
And I think that is the miracle.
Es como si la otra parte de la mente,
It's like the other side of the mind,
que es la del ego,
that is the ego's mind.
es como si fuera una balanza y se hubiera bajado completamente y ahora estuviera arriba Jesús.
It's like this voice is down and now the Jesus voice is loud.
Porque puedo ver cómo antes yo le pedía su interpretación a Jesús
And I can see that before I asked for Jesus' interpretation
y no la aceptaba.
and I didn't accept it.
Quería el ataque, la bronca.
I wanted the attack, the fight.
Y ahora es como si fluyera y me
And
llega
now it's like everything is flowing.
y siento el estado de paz, de esa conexión con Él.
And I can feel the state of peace and the connection with him.
Así es que estoy muy, muy agradecida porque después de mirar tanto la mente subconsciente,
And now I feel grateful because for this looking in my mind, in conscious mind.
ahora estoy abierta a escuchar a Jesús completamente.
Now I am open to hear Jesus.
Y sé que todavía tengo procesos de perdón,
I know that I still have some process, forgiveness process.
de hecho me ha llevado a leer el curso de milagros
And also Jesus has shown me that I need to see the Course in Miracles.
y es como si las lágrimas se me vienen de que me me llega esa plenitud.
When I am reading this, I start to cry and I feel the wholeness.
Y veía como antes tenía una resistencia
And I can see now that before I had a lot of resistance.
así es que eso es lo que he podido experimentar últimamente.
And that's what I can say that I have been experienced these last days.
Y siento que todo esto es el fruto de liberar los deseos de la mente subconsciente.
And I see that this is the fruit to release this desire of my unconscious mind.
Así es que gracias, Kay, y gracias a todos los hermanos poderosos.
So thank you, Kay, and thank all to my Maris, to all
Gracias.
my Maris.
Gracias,
Mucho
Lena.
amor, Lina. Brazos. Muchos abrazos, many hugs. It's so valuable, these mighties.
Es tan valioso estos compañeros poderosos.
Sí, gracias, gracias, los amo.
Thank you. I love all.
Yeah, we're very blessed to have every single one of you, and all of you are such beautiful reflections of devotion to God.
Es tan maravilloso tener estos reflejos de todo el amor del Padre.
You know, the ego will fight this, you know, it's going to fight, but you don't have to get in a fight with it. You go to the miracle, go to Jesus.
Y el ego va a pelear, pero tú no tienes que entrar en esa pelea, simplemente ve con Jesús, ve por el
It is,
milagro.
Jesus said, it's none of your business what the ego's doing.
Y él dice, no es tu asunto lo que el ego esté haciendo.
Okay, it's none of your business. The only business you have is with the one who knows.
No es tu asunto, el único asunto tuyo es con aquel que sabe.
And, you know, you just hang on. Like I said, many times I'm just hanging on to his feet, and I'm just now, it's just, once you get into full collaboration with him on everything, you just ask him everything.
Y es como lo he dicho, agárrate de sus pies, agárrate de sus pies.
You'll know things you never thought you needed to know, but obviously you'll need to know them, so I'll tell you.
Y él te va a decir todo lo que tú necesitas saber, porque sí, te lo va a decir.
It's just a symbol of a unified mind, you know, where consciousness is unified, you know, it's no longer playing the game of something out there.
Y es no seguir jugando el juego de que hay algo allá afuera.
And it's really moving into that I'm fully responsible for my mind. Every experience I desired it, you know.
Y es tomar completa responsabilidad de nuestra mente y ver que cada cosa que hemos experimentado es una experiencia deseada.
So it's great to see that, you know, desirelessness is nirvana.
Es maravilloso ver que no tener deseos es el nirvana.
Go Buddha.
Somos el Buda.
Look, and let me tell you, for some of you, you've heard me tell this story before, where these two people who were studying Buddhism, okay, they're studying Buddhism, and one was a master.
Y he contado la historia de estos dos personajes que estaban estudiando budismo y uno era el maestro.
And one came in and said, oh my gosh, I don't see how you can be desireless. I mean, that's depressing.
Y el otro llegó y le dijo, no puedo creer que tú quieras vivir sin deseos, que tenga ausencia de deseos, eso es depresivo.
Let me tell you something, that belief will keep you in the revolving door of hell, I'm just saying.
Y lo que puedo ver es que realmente esto te va a estar manteniendo en el revuelto del infierno.
But then the master, who, well, I don't know if he was a master, but he's supposedly a teacher or something, he agreed with him. This is a Buddhist. Look, you're not listening to Buddha.
Y entonces este maestro, profesor, dijo, sí, mira, eso es cierto, estás escuchando al Buda.
Happiness is zero desire, no desire, because you have everything. There's nothing to desire.
Porque la felicidad es no tener deseos.
So everybody jump into the nirvana pool of desirelessness.
Entonces todos se pueden lanzar a la piscina de la ausencia de deseos, que
We
es el
love you.
nirvana.
We
Los
love you all.
amamos a todos.
Mucho amor, mucho amor. Love you. Thanks for jumping on board. Go for
Gracias.
God.
Vamos por Dios.
Adios.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Thank you so much.
Bye, Elizabeth. Love you.
Me too.
Gracias. Thank you.
Rocket, put your rocket hat on.